episode of the Society Knits YouTube channel. My name's Sally and I'm the maker and owner behind Society Knits, an Australian-based online yarn and fibre business that aims to promote Australian fibre industry. I can't continue talking about yarn without first acknowledging the land on which I'm filming from, which is the lands of the Wiradjuri people. I pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. So, welcome. I really wanted to start a channel to discuss and to share a little bit more about Australian makers, Australian yarn, to help support my growing passion for the Australian yarn and fibre industry. For those who have been following along since I started Society Knits in 2023, you know that my focus for my business has been to try and source Australian grown, preferably processed and then dyed yarns to help you shop local, to support our Australian wool industry without having to actually make any effort. I've found that Instagram and social media have just been a little bit limited in how much I can share, and kind of a little bit of the behind the scenes things are lacking. So I thought this would be a really nice way to share a bit more extensively with you. I have really enjoyed watching other makers on YouTube recently, and I know that the wonderful podcasters who are now known as Fibre Mates have been doing an excellent job of talking about the Australian fibre industry, and I just thought, let's make more. So in this podcast, you will find a pretty traditional structure, some finished objects, hopefully, lots of works in progress. But then my acquisitions will be both things that I've personally bought and then things that I've been adding to the store, so you can get a better understanding of what they look like and how they might go together with different colour combinations and patterns to use as well. So each thing that I will be showing you will either have a focus on an Australian designer or it will be an Australian yarn. Again, so you can kind of shop locally really easily without much effort. The first thing I wanted to show you was what I'm wearing. So this is the first Australian yarn store that I will help kind of flag. This is a pattern by Iron Lamb called the Granny Go Round crochet cardigan. Just so cleverly designed, embracing granny core absolutely, with a gorgeous granny stitch, with beautiful fitting and detail. I used the My Creative Garage 2024 advent for this. I just love her really vibrant colours, and when I opened the advent I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do with this because there's just so many beautiful things and I don't know how I'm going to put them all together. And then I came back to this old favourite cardigan pattern and I thought, this is it. So I have added a few extra little skeins just to add a little bit more length and to add the contrast, but otherwise it's mainly her 4-ply held double, or fingering weight held double, to get this gorgeous cardigan that I have just had so much wear out of. I was a little nervous getting the stellina base just because I've never really worked with that, and I'm not usually someone who adds sparkle to things, but absolutely no regrets. It's just an absolutely fabulous cardigan that I wear over shirts or dresses and can easily dress up and down. So I have been working on a lot of really big projects recently, a few kind of commissioned pieces as well. So I don't have a lot of finished objects, but one I did want to show you was my finished Bendigo beanie. So this is a pattern by Susanna from Sanna and Co, and I was really lucky and got to test knit it. it is a nice DK or 8-ply weight, really well written, as all her patterns are, easy to follow, and I think it would be the perfect first colour work project, particularly if you haven't done colour work in the round before. Because of the nice kind of loose gauge, it's quite forgiving if things get a little bit squishy, but a really enjoyable thing and very quick to make up. So this colour here, the pink, is actually one I dyed myself. So that's the Iced Vovo, and as you can see, it's just got the sort of whites with dark pops, but mainly a light pink kind of base, and then the rest were kind of stash yarns, but this was Night Drops by Three Trees Fibre Crafts, who I stock as well, and who I made my Alma vest, which I'll show you one day. So if you're looking for a first colour work beanie, grab this one. The details will be in the description, but it is just a gorgeous pattern with a few great sizes. So that's my only finished object today. Moving on to works in progress. So I have been trying to knit a jumper for my husband since December. I got way too excited and tried to draft one up myself, and I knitted the entire body, majority of one sleeve, and I just hated it. And then I put it on him and it just didn't fit very well, and it was bottom up, and I just had to frog it, even though I was so close to being done. I just couldn't look at it anymore. So I frogged it, but I've now made really good progress. So I restarted this only a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just flying through it. So the yarn I'm using is actually a new to me dyer, and I don't know quite how established she is, but the company is called Thud Designs. So she's using an Australian DK or 8-ply base, and I got it in this kind of slaty blue colour. So I'll just show you. The pattern I'm using is the Zipper Sweater Light Man. So it's kind of a DK weight gauge, and it has a kind of folded collar, which you will then add a zipper into, and then it's a top down raglan sleeve, fairly basic, just sort of slightly oversized man sweater. The yarn is fine. When I ordered it, I ordered a sweater quantity, and unfortunately it seems like it was kind of two very different dye lots. And look, I have dyed yarn myself. I'm experienced with hand dyed yarns, and I know you need to alternate, and I don't expect yarns to be the same, in each individual skein. But what I've ended up with was basically kind of you might be able to see there, like a variegated and a solid. And so I've really had to work quite hard with my helical knitting to create quite a mild sort of effect, where I was hoping that it would be a bit more solid. The actual yarn itself is beautiful. It's a great base. And I mean, it's fine. I'm working with it. It's just a little bit more brain power usage than what I'd hoped. But anyway, I think it'll be a great finished object. I can't wait to gift it to my husband for his birthday. So I've got a little bit of time pressure, which always helps me to actually get things over the line. And it's a really enjoyable pattern, because now that I'm past all of the increases and kind of knitting flat, I am just zooming in stockinette in the round, which is really lovely. Fortunately, my gauge matched Petite Knits, and so I'm just using the needles as per pattern. I'm not a very monogamous knitter. I really like to have multiple things on the needles at once. I try and have very different types of things. So I find that if my hands start getting a little cramped with one, I'll move on to something with a very different needle size. Or if I start getting bored with something, I'll go from a plain thing to a lace thing or to a colourwork thing. So I really like to kind of change it up. And I find that even though I'm spreading my time across a lot of different projects, the enjoyment factor is more, which I think, as someone who's probably more of a process knitter, that's far more important to me than actually getting the project off the needles. So while I've got that big one going, I also cast on for my birthday, something that I have been dying to work on for just such a long time. End of last year, I bought a kit for the EXP sweater. So I love Susanna's patterns. So Susanna is from Sanna and Co. She's an Australian designer, and she is just incredible. Her patterns are interesting and constructions are unusual and challenging and really well written. And there are so many tutorials and explanations for how to do things that you kind of feel really well supported in trying something a little unusual and strange to you. So you tackle one of her patterns and you're not only really safely supported in trying something new, but you then kind of get confidence to go, okay, well, I'm going to see how I go with something else. And you're learning all these new skills, and they're just so enjoyable. So if you haven't knitted something by her, please just go for the experience alone. So the EXP sweater has been out for a while. When I first saw it, I was just amazed because it was such an unusual construction. I didn't know what yarns I would use for it or how I would wear it. And at that point, I hadn't knitted any of her patterns. So I just kind of parked it on my Ravelry queue and thought I'll just have a think about it. Then I think it was end of last year, Louie and Lola yarns based in Tasmania. Karina posted that she was making some kits for this sweater. And I thought now is the time. I've been a big fan of Louie and Lola for a really long time. So I love the colour palettes, the yarn quality is just exquisite. I've got nothing to lose. So I got a kit for the EXP sweater last year. And then it was my birthday this year and decided it is time. Now the EXP is a kind of top-down bat wing sweater knitted in the round in half fisherman's rib, and I've never done that before. So again, I just had to trust the process, which I knew would be great from Susanna, and I think so far so good. So I'll show you where I'm up to at the moment. So I've done the collar, as you can see. And there's really great, I'll just cover up my face so you can see it a little bit better. There's a great description of how to fade colours in. So you kind of do this base colour, which I'm doing in this sort of goldy Polworth. And then you gradually fade colours down, or you can do it all in one contrast colour, but I'm going to do a fade because I've got some like really beautiful half skeins which came in the kit. So this is the current colour that I'm transitioning to, and this is the one that I've been working on. And you can just see like the little flecks of pink and gold are just so pretty. And then I'll move more into kind of more golds and rosy tones. I did want to practice the fisherman's rib a little bit more, just because I've never done it before. So the pattern calls for you to just do plain, the plain main color, and so then you get this lovely kind of you're supposed to get this kind of plain rolling color over the top before you start the contrast stripes, but I really wanted to have a little bit more experience, so that's why mine might look a little bit different. And then you just start doing your increases, and I love it. I'm really addicted to it. It's really nice because you're kind of only working one color each round, and I love just thinking, okay, I'll do this one and then I'll get to do my new contrast color, and I want to see how that's working up. So it's something that, despite a lot of concentration needed, gets a lot of momentum. So I'm knitting the size 3, so I think that should fit really well. I'm generally a size 3 in most of the Sanna and Co patterns, and that certainly should be okay with the gauge that I've got so far. So I really hope to be able to make a lot more progress by the time I show you in the next episode, so hold me accountable. But yes, love it. That is all of the Australian themed whips that I've got at the moment. Plans next. So one of the main reasons I started Society Knits was because, I mean, I love knitting, I love Australian wool, but also there's just no kind of independent or hand-dyed yarn stores around the Wagga or even Riverina region anymore. And so that meant I did a lot of like online shopping, or if I went to you know, big markets like the Australian Yarn Show, which I vendored at, I had to kind of do a bit of a flurried mission of feel and squish and try and plan and then buy all the yarn. So I don't often have a lot of acquisitions anyway. I kind of do a big bulk shop with plans and then work through those until I get another opportunity. But one of the yarn dyes that I've been buying from for just the longest time, because I just love her colours, has been Natural Fibre Arts. Now, she was based in Queensland and I think she's now moved over to Western Australia, but is still very much an active dyer. And I am planning to knit a stripes sweater by Andrea Mowry. So I'll show you the colours that I've got, and I've even caked them up because I'm really itching to cast it on, but I think I just need to get some of these other projects off the needles first to make sure that they don't stagnate. So my colours are so got this gorgeous pink with like a denim-y blue and a nice mustardy gold yellow, and then the final one is kind of a rusty brown. So these are all a 4-ply or fingering weight base, and these are actually the SRS Merino. The SRS Merino is a really interesting story. Again, you know, we're trying to be really conscious about buying, where is it coming from, how are the sheep looked after, how is everything processed. So this is a SRS, stands for soft rolling skin, and they're a specially kind of bred merino sheep that doesn't require mulesing. Mulesing's a whole other topic that I'm not going to get into, but these are non-muled sheep, so theoretically less harm has kind of happened to the sheep in order to maintain their health. So I have been eyeing off this space for a long time. Various kind of other shops are using it as well, and so I'm really excited to use it from a favourite dyer as a kind of first pass to see whether or not it's something that I'll get into the shop as well. So I may or may not have that cast on by the time I see you next, but that's they are the plans. With all of these really big projects, sometimes you need a little bit of a palette cleanser or something that's a little easier to kind of throw in your bag. I do a lot of just spontaneous knitting. You know, I just find that getting 5 minutes of knitting in a lunch break or in between bits and pieces at work can be just really rejuvenating. So I always have something in my bag ready to go. So I think my next on the go whip will be, again, from one of my favorite combinations. When I first started getting into proper knitting world, I discovered Curious Handmade. And then she moved to Australia. Even though she's from Australia, she was in the UK, but now she's moved back. And I'm just so excited because I could really claim she's Australian again. And I just loved her patterns. I'm still struggling to get into the world of socks because I'm a really loose knitter. But her patterns are exquisite. Her sock designs are amazing. Her shawls are so beautiful. And the patterns are just written so well for my brain with tick boxes and percentages. They're really motivating. They're really clear. So when Louie and Lola were hosting the breast cancer fundraiser end of last year, and there was an opportunity to buy yarn and a Curious Handmade pattern, I thought, have to do that. Have to. Not only for the breast cancer awareness, but just what an amazing combination. So the next thing on my to-do list is the Wishing Star shawl. I love a paper pattern because I can scribble all over it. I'm trying to get better with digital, but here we are. Anyway, I love the Wishing Star shawl. I am going to make it with this beautiful Louie and Lola pinky speckled colorway, which was part of the Knit for the Girls breast cancer fundraiser for last year. It is a merino nylon sock with such good yardage, 425 meters. That's really good. So that will be perfect for a shawl. I have plans to gift it, but just in case that person is watching, I'm not going to say who it's going to be for, but yes, I think that'll be one of the next things that I cast on. Then the last thing that I have planned is another Petite Knit pattern called the Caramel Sweater. I really need to make some more cardigans, but for some reason I'm just so drawn to the sweaters. I just love the idea of being able to zoom through something in the round. And I've been eyeing off the caramel sweater because I really like the kind of oversized boxy look with a nice kind of high turtlenecky thing going on. So that will be on the needles at some point, probably once I've zoomed through some of these other bigger projects. But I do have the yarn for it. Again, it's going to be Natural Fibre Arts. So this is the colour Charcoal. So it's just a nice, you know, solid grey. It's got some tonal qualities to it, so it's got some darker bits. And again, it's going to be on the SRS merino base. This one is the 8-ply or DK weight. And it's just got such a kind of lovely plumpness to it. So I think it will be just a really lovely sweater yarn to use, and I think that's going to be a really nice thing to have, you know, against skin with that high neck as well. So I think that's going to work really nicely. So I might or might not have that on the needles next time I see you. I guess one of the other things that I thought about when thinking, do I really need to add to the knitting YouTube world, was that I haven't seen a lot of people with kind of the colours that I love to use or that necessarily suit my skin tones. So according to the colour analysis charts, I'm a soft summer, which isn't surprising to me because I think I've tended towards those colours most of the time anyway. But a lot of the YouTube channels that I watch, people seem to be going more for either real neutrals like beige, muted creams, or they tend to be a little bit more autumnal, and they've never really been colours that my eyes have yearned for or that necessarily, you know, suit me. So I thought adding some pink, adding some navy into the mix, and better yet, if that's all Australian or from Australian designers, then I think that would be a really good contribution to this space. I hope to do this reasonably often, but life is a little busy in my household, and so can't make any promises. But if there are pattern designers or yarn stores that you want to know about or think that I should stock in my shop, or if you've got questions about the shop or yarn that you want to see in more detail, either swatched up or how it's used in a garment, please let me know in the comments below, because I want to really showcase how incredible the Australian yarn and fibre industry is, from wool fibre makers to the designers, because there is no reason we shouldn't be celebrating them. I would love if you liked this episode. I would love if you left a comment or became a subscriber. It'd be incredible. If you shared it with people to spread the word, that would be amazing as well. But until next time, I will continue working on my whips and continue to discover some more Australian amazing wool things, and hope to share with you really soon. Thanks for joining. Bye.